Outside of his window, the sun had set, and now Governor John Holbrook sat alone in his office, watching the shadows dance across the wall. His private secretary had gone for the day, and the few remaining office workers were busy making their way to the parking lots. The governor was tired and weary from another long, hard day's work in West Virginia politics, and now he could finally lean back lazily in his chair and soak in the silence that surrounded him as his mind reflected back on the day's events. He thought of those eyes again. He couldn't seem to get them out of his head. Earlier that day, the governor had been over to the state penitentiary, and as he made his way through its gloomy walls, he happened upon a convict being led back to his cell by a couple of stout guards. The convict was defiant. He had just been given a good thrashing, and as he slouched along, suddenly the governor stopped him. For some strange reason, he was attracted by the criminal's face, and he proceeded to ask the man what the trouble was. "None of your damn business," growled the young man sullenly. "Boy, you best shut your mouth, you fool. That's the governor you're talking to. Now show some respect," said one of the guards. "If you backsass him again, we'll take you back there and give you a little more old hickory to help you get your mind right." "I don't care if he's the governor. I don't expect nothing from him. I don't need no favors from him or nobody else. Let me go to my cell." In that moment, the prisoner was taken back to the narrow den that was to be his home for the term of his natural life. And as the heavy iron door was clanged shut, the governor stood there for a moment, looking curiously after the convict. "Well, who is that man? What's he in here for?" "His name's Jim Smith. He's up from Greenbrier County. Murder. Yep, he's a lifer," responded the guard. "He's a tough nut. Ain't even 30 years old yet, but he was always in trouble till he got in here. I'm from Greenbrier myself, and I know him. Yes, sirree. He's a bad egg. Killed his daddy, and that old man, well, he was a hard case too. Word is they got into some sort of family ruckus, and the first thing Jim done was to shoot his paw. Now the jury would have hung Jim, but his daddy was such an afeared and mean man that they thought Jim ought to be allowed something for ridding the county of him. So they gave Jim a life term." That was all that had occurred, but the governor had taken a good look at the prisoner's face. For some reason, he was sure it had been a fine face once upon a time, and even now it wasn't wholly bad. If he would drop that look of defiance, it would be a very good-looking face indeed. And those eyes, certainly, thought the governor. He had seen those eyes before. He racked his brains, thinking about them all day, and somehow, out of the dim, misty memories of childhood, his mind drifted back to those hills of East Tennessee where he had spent his youth. There appeared a pair of eyes, strangely like the ones of the convict. It was strange, but all of a sudden, he couldn't help but thinking of an old apple tree in full bloom and a white face with those eyes, but he couldn't make sense of it all. Just then, there was a timid knock at the door, and the figure of a frail-looking old woman entered through the doorway, slowly, like she was half afraid to do so. "It's after office hours, ma'am. You'll have to come back tomorrow."
Well, yes, sir. I understand. It's just, I've been trying to see the governor for 3 days now. And every time I'm here, he's been too busy. Well, anyways, I'm sorry to bother you, sir. I'll come back again tomorrow.
Just as she started to go, a ray of light from the hallway flashed into the office, and on her withered face, there were those eyes again, and the visions of apple blossoms. "Well, wait a minute, ma'am. I'm the governor. It's just that it's unusual to attend to business at this time of the evening. But come in for a moment, and I'll make an exception in your case. What is it you wish?"
"You're the governor?"
"Yes, ma'am, I am. Please tell me what I can do for you." The woman unrolled a grimy paper and handed it to him. And in the dim light, the governor could see that it was a petition for a pardon. And as he strained his eyes over it in the twilight, the poor little woman in the rusty dress sat with clenched hands and wildly beating heart, waiting breathlessly. "Well, let me see here. Jim Smith, Greenbrier County, convicted of murder. There's not many names on this petition. On what grounds do you base this claim to executive clemency? From all I've heard, this case is a particularly horrible one. The man killed his father. And, moreover, Smith is a man of bad reputation in the county which he came from."
"It's not so. It's a lie. He's always been good to me. And the man he killed was not his father. He was his stepfather. And that wasn't shown at the trial. You see, we didn't have no money to get a lawyer, but my boy Jim was always kind to me. And the truth is, he's all I've got left but my happy days before I married that drunken brute. Please, Governor, my boy Jim is all I have in this world."
"Well, I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't see that this is a case that I can interfere. There's no showing made of extenuating circumstances."
"No extenuating circumstances? My God, if you want to know of extenuating circumstances, I'll tell you of them. I killed that man myself, and my boy Jim just lied and said he did it to save me. That man was beating me like he always did when he was drunk, and in desperation, I snatched up the pistol. I didn't mean to kill him. I just wanted to hurt him and made him leave me alone. He was about to hit me again with a stick when I closed my eyes and I fired. When my boy Jim came in and saw what I'd done, he went and gave himself up, and he told me that if I said a word about his not doing it, he would kill himself. I was afraid. Please, you have to understand."
"You say Jim was not the son of the man he killed? Then whose son was he?"
"I can't tell you. When I was a girl, I lived in Tennessee, and I was pretty then. Everyone said so. But anyhow, that don't really matter now. But before the war, when I was still young, I had a sweetheart. He was a poor boy named John, and he worked on an old farm near where we lived. He didn't have any family since all his people had died, and when that war broke out, he went to fight, and he promised me that he would come back for me, and I trusted him and believed him. Yet I never saw him again, but I still remember well the night he went away. It was in the springtime, and we sat in the grass underneath the old apple tree down in the orchard."
As the governor listened to the woman's word, a sudden chill ran down his spine, and his teeth chattered a little bit.
"Yes, I remember it very well. And the apple blossoms were on the ground, all around us, and he pulled several of them, and he put them in my hair and on my dress, and he said my eyes were the most beautiful that he had ever seen. Well, after he went away, I never heard from him again. He must have been killed during the war. But that winter, I gave birth to my baby boy, Jim, and a few months later, I met that brute, the one that's dead. But he wasn't bad to me at first, and before long, I married the man. He thought I was a widow, and the truth is, in the sight of God, I was, since John was surely dead. Anyhow, after I married this man, he changed. He was mean and shiftless. He was cruel to me, and he beat me. And somehow, he found out about my boy Jim. After that, he was even worse than ever, and my life was awful. My boy Jim was good to me, and he kept us up. Every cent he made, he gave to me, and he comforted me, and he never said an unkind word to me in his life. And if I don't get him out, I'll die. I'll die, I tell you. I don't care to live without him. Please, sir, turn him loose, and let me have just a little happiness in this life. I don't have much more left, and all I have now it's nothing but sorrow. Let a little brightness come back to me. Please, I'm begging you.
There was a long silence. The governor thought of those eyes, and the moonlight, and the upturned, trusting face, and those apple blossoms. So long ago. Across his desk, the woman had broken down and was weeping silently, and the governor's eyes were full of tears. At last, he broke the silence, and from his pocket, he pulled a wallet, and he took a pile of bills from it. "Ma'am, here's some money, a few $100s. It'll keep you and Jim for a while. And if you'll present yourself at the prison tomorrow at 12 o'clock, your boy will be turned over to you, pardoned, on the condition that you both take the first train and leave West Virginia, where you've seen so much sorrow. The money I've given you will pay your railroad fare and keep you and Jim until he can get some work. I'd do this for the sake of your dead John. But please, don't come back here to thank me tomorrow, for I can't see you again. Good night and goodbye." And as the woman left the office, with a heart too full of happiness to put into mere words, she looked back and she saw in the twilight shadows the governor lean forward as though in utter weariness. He pillowed his head upon the arms of his broad desk. The rest of that night, she couldn't sleep for joy, nor could the governor sleep. In his mind, he kept thinking about the moonlit night, those eyes which he couldn't forget, and the ground strewn with the petals of apple blossoms. It was only a small morsel of comfort to know that she believed him to be dead.